Hey, so it's time to get on with the cap. Right, the previous video, done the front end, got the front panels all mint to the point where they were 2K epoxy primed, and then there was a 2K polyurethane top coat, which is in red, which is actually a base coat because there's loads more colours to put over that because we are going for a patina truck, and then the underside of that was done in 2K Raptor to obviously protect from like stone chips, water ingress, whatnot. So they're done, they're outside, they've been outside for a couple of days venting. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have done a bit of better work on this off camera yesterday. I just wasn't in the zone to be recording. To be honest, I'm not today, but we need to start recording something on this. So yesterday I went round, realised there was a load of previous repairs on it. So I had to go around with a torch, as this was my little trick. Went around with a torch and basically poked it for everywhere. And as you can probably see, by a really bad example on this bulkhead where there's kind of little flashes, that kind of allowed me to work out where there were pinholes. So obviously I had a load around the scuttle, and there's a load in the roof. Basically it has been repaired and restored at some point before, and what I've done is when I've blasted it, I've removed obviously the filler of those kind of repairs, and yeah, the welds are good, but there's some bits around the edge of the weld. I've got pinholes which most people will just skim over the top of the filler. I don't like that. I want to make sure it's fully welded. I normally prefer to go without filler, but in all honesty, this cab's probably going to need a little bit of TLC with some kind of really minimal skims here and there, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I hate filler. Yeah, that's kind of the plan. I'm going to stop waffling. We're just going to get on some time lapse, and we're going to try and restore this cab. fast forward a little bit, finished the dash off. I'll show you that in a minute. It looks quite cool. And also then got on with a few other jobs off of camera. So the first one was obviously going around doing a load of repairs here and there around kind of the screen, filling a few things with like a low temperature weld rather than filler. And we're pretty much from this point of the body, ignoring dents in the roof because I'm leaving them, but from this point to about here, I would say it's pretty much done internally and externally. We've got the lowers of the door bottoms to do, which is obviously the outer skins and the underneath because they're completely toast. We've got basically all the floor to do, and there's a few other kind of modifications here and there. Now, as some of you eagle-eye may have noticed, the bulkhead's also been done. We've smoothed off all of the holes. There's a load of kind of big circles that were in it, especially a massive one over here. There's the original bit where the loom wiring would have come through on the F1. It does on, obviously this is the F5, but the shower's pretty much the same. All of that completely gone, shaved off, welded. Could have put a new complete bulkhead in, but what I kind of liked is the originality of the swage lines. Also, it didn't take me that long to do, so it made more sense doing it like that. I've then put in 3 holes and then 4 holes there. Basically, 4 holes for a mounting bracket, and the 3 holes are to be able to run some AN, I think they're AN4 lines, but it's basically some stainless braided lines in from the brake reservoir. So you've got a front one, a rear one, and a clutch, and then the braided lines, which are the feed, will go into the bias pedal box, which is obviously Wilwood master cylinders and Wilwood pedal box. So that is the only holes at the minute on the bulkhead. So we don't know where to put the holes in at this moment in time for the heater matrix, because I think the heater matrix is going to need to be really low, quite simply because the highest point needs to be the fill point. So we're going to probably need to put an expansion tank up here quite high, run a sealed system, radiator. So if I buy a radiator, I'm going to have any kind of cap welded up. So the expansion's up here, and that will mean anything lower is going to be able to fill like 100% with water, so we won't get air in the heater matrix. But because I don't know where any of that is at the minute, we're just going to leave that. We're not going to do any holes. So the plan is at the moment to flip it over and do the repairs I can do on the outside of it. I'm not going to do any repairs to the floor. Now the reason being, originally I was going to do all this 2K epoxy, then 2K paint it, put it outside to cure for a few days. I'm not going to be able to do that now because I've kind of realised fairly quickly that the floor is going to need modifying for the steering column. I don't know where that's going to be until the body's sat on the chassis. And obviously we've got other issues of if this tunnel needs making different, if the floor actually needs cutting out completely because it doesn't clear. I've also made the seat section up and I can't put that in because obviously that may be in the wrong place. It's just the floor is a massive issue. So the plan's going to be do the repairs, so obviously the cab corners, the door lowers, the door underneath bits, some of the front bits if it needs it, but anything kind of floor related other than cutting off the original mounts, I think I'm going to leave until we've got it on top of the chassis. So the plan will be I'm still going to get it into some 2K epoxy, but I'm not going to paint the dash in 2K epoxy and I'm not going to paint the floor. What I might do is just put some of the weld-free primer on the floor temporarily to stop it rusting, and that will mean if I need to do any chops and changes to that, it's not going to muck up the 2K epoxy because unfortunately that one's not a weld-free primer. So that's the plan. We're going to chuck it on some speed laps. You're probably going to see me struggle like how I'm trying to get it off this dolly. But first, let's have a quick look at the dash.